Hi, I'm Ayan,
And I'm Sid.
and you're watching Every Car.
Fun fact, did you guys know that the first Mercedes AMG launched was called the C36 AMG? It had a naturally aspirated inline 6 having 276 horsepower and 353 Newton meters of torque, which are very healthy numbers considering the fact that it was launched all the way back in 1993. Over a span of 3 years, they managed to sell only 1,000 cars.
Speaking of performance sedans, today we're doing top 5 performance sedans in 2021. This is a list based on our opinion on what we think are the best sedans, so we hope you guys like it.
First up, we have the Lexus RCF. Which is powered by a naturally aspirated 5-liter V8 having 470 horsepower and 535 Newton meters of stupid wind. 535 Newton meters of stupid wind. Having 470 horsepower and 535 Newton meters of torque, powering the rear wheels. Talking about the pros of this car, a very big driving factor for this car is its fun to drive characteristics. Because it's rear wheel drive, it's quite easy to do burnouts in this and drift about in it. Another driving factor for this is its standard kit that it gets. One very big selling point for this car should be its reliability. Lexus is always known for its reliability factor, which actually promotes a lot of buyers to buy Lexus over other competitors. Another great advantage of getting this car over its competitors is that it will let you bounce off the rev limiter and will not shift up in manual mode unlike the competitors in the segment, and the sound of that is just symphony to your ears. Talking about the cons for this car, although it is a very engaging car to drive and very fun to drive about, it isn't as exciting to drive as the alternatives or the ones that are in our list. Another big drawback for this car is that its boot capacity is quite a bit less than its alternatives, which can be problematic considering the fact that it is a performance sedan and you would want good practicality out of a sedan. Another very bad mark for Lexus, and it has been consistent with all Lexus cars, not just this, is its infotainment system. Lexus has always been criticized for its infotainment system and they just don't improve it. They just keep it very simple and the UI is just not engaging. The competitors do a much better job in the infotainment business, but Lexus just doesn't do a very great job with the infotainment system. In terms of what I think of the car, I think it's a great overall package of performance and sound. It's definitely a hoot to drive and a lot of fun to drive and is definitely a different choice from the German rivals. It also comes with a lot of kit as standard and I think that's a good part on Lexus.
The next up on our list is the BMW M5 Competition. It has a 4.4 litre twin turbo V8 producing about 600 horsepower and 750 Newton meters of torque, coming from an 8-speed automatic transmission. Some of the pros that come with this car is that it's really good at masking its turbo lag, so you wouldn't really know that it's a turbocharged car unless you knew it was a turbocharged car. So the M5 is based on the 5 Series, and the 5 Series is known to be a very practical car, and when you get the performance variant, which is the M5, you don't lose out on any of that practicality, which is a big advantage compared to the competitors where you might lose some of your practicality with it. The performance from that V8 is very, very good, especially when you consider the fact that there's no turbo lag and the performance figures. This is a very, very compelling car when it comes to performance and performance sedans. Some of the cons with the M5 Competition is that it starts at over $100,000, and at $100,000 that is very expensive. And so when you add on options on top of that, you're well over the $100,000 mark. So that's when you start thinking about the value proposition of it. Even starting at over $100,000, you do not get the basic features that you would get in a Toyota Yaris as standard. Things like adaptive cruise control don't come as standard and you have to put them on as an option, which is absolutely ridiculous to me. And I think that is something that most luxury brands do, but I mean, I really get annoyed when they charge for such a basic safety feature that is there nowadays. Lastly, launch control can be really unreliable on the car. And that could be a big disadvantage and could get really frustrating because you pay extra for the M5 competition and you don't even get to experience the visual launch of the car. Overall, I think it's a great car. It's got a perfect blend of performance and practicality. The only thing that really holds this car behind is the price. The price for some people can be a deal breaker, but if you can get past the price, then I think it's a great option and you should really consider it.
Next up on our list is the Porsche Panamera Turbo S. Has a 4.4 litre twin turbo V8 producing 630 horsepower and 820 Newton meters of torque, powering all 4 wheels via a 7-speed PDK gearbox. Talking about the pros of the car, it's got matrix LEDs in the Turbo S model, which is very smart in dimming and brightening the lights according to the road condition. It is also an extremely fun and engaging car to drive considering its size. The Panamera Turbo S is the fastest car around the Nürburgring in its class. Porsche has got no corners in the interior part. It gets very plush interiors on the inside and will leave you with no places where you find hard plastics. It gets as standard the carbon ceramic brakes in the Panamera Turbo S version, which provides immense braking performance. Talking about the cons for this car, just like the M5 competition, it doesn't come with driving aids like semi-autonomous driving system and lane keep assist as standard, which is quite a bad mark considering it's a very expensive car to start with. For some reason, the Turbo S model does not get as much boot capacity as the standard Panamera. It's not like it's the hybrid version for it to like take up space for the battery and the other gubbins, but for some reason Porsche doesn't provide as much boot capacity as the standard Panamera. Another huge con for this car is its starting price. The Turbo S starts at $180,000. That's before you add any options to it, and the options can drive you crazy. Although it is criticized for its looks, I personally prefer the looks of this car over some of the other competitors. I am a big fan of the looks. Porsche has definitely improved over its previous models. The first generation was honestly very bad looking, but this generation looks really good. Although it's a very expensive car, if you have the money, I'd say you should buy it. It's a very nice car. It's a very nice overall package.
Next up on our list is the Mercedes GT63S 4-door coupe. Let's hope I got that right. It comes with 640 horsepower, 900 Newton meters of torque coming from an all-wheel drive system and 9-speed dual-clutch transmission. One of the biggest pros with this car is that it's bonkers to drive. The acceleration on this car is pretty crazy. It has 900 Newton meters of torque, and on paper that is crazy numbers. Secondly, Mercedes created this car to be an alternative to the GT or the GTR that they already had. And so, keeping that in mind, it is also a pretty spacious car to be in, and since it's a 4-door, you can have 5 people in the car. In terms of the cons of the car, as almost every other car on this list, the price is insane. The AMG GT63S variant starts at $160,000 without options, and so putting options on the car, you can be looking at a price at around $200,000, which is actually mad to think about. In terms of the looks of the car, it's very similar to the Mercedes CLS, and that could be a big disadvantage because you're paying so much, over $160,000, and people might mistake it for the Mercedes CLS, which is one of the entry-level cars of Mercedes, which kind of sucks if you think about how much money you're spending. In terms of what you think of the car, it's spacious and it's big. It's very luxurious on the inside, and the performance numbers are actually bonkers. With 900 Newton meters of torque, you can be expecting to go very fast.
Next up, we have the Displacement King car with a 6.2 litre supercharged Hemi V8 producing 797 horsepower and 916 Newton meters of torque with an 8-speed transmission powering the rear wheels. It is the Dodge Charger Hellcat Red Eye White Body.
In terms of the pros of the car, when we start talking about the value of what you get compared to the other cars that we've put up on the list, it's probably the better cars in terms of the value. At $80,000, the amount of performance that you get is actually really good. Very good. Secondly, another advantage with this car is that doing burnouts is very easy, and getting the back end out is also very easy in this car, and you can have a lot of fun as long as you can control the power. Another thing to keep in mind is that since it's supercharged and not turbocharged, the performance that you get is immediate and there is no lag. It has also got an 8-speed gearbox, which is really good at shifting really quickly. Because it is a very mechanical engine, the room for error is very less, and so it is one of the more reliable cars on this list. In terms of the cons of this car, in one of our previous videos, we had mentioned that the Jeep Trackhawk had really bad gas mileage, and this is no different. Compared to the other cars over here, although most of them have bad gas mileage, this is especially bad. At the $80,000 price point, the interior quality is not that great, and you definitely expect something better at that price point. But I think the engine well makes up for it. Lastly, the options list can drive you crazy. So the base price of the car is $80,000, and you could put $20,000 in just options, and that could take you over the $100,000 mark, which is actually, it starts getting a bit expensive in my opinion.
Talking about my overall thoughts of this car, I think the styling is very good on this car. The wide body kit gives it a very nice stance. The hood scoop also looks really good on this. It's an amazing car to do long distances into. I think because it's an American car, they have designed it in such a way that the seats are very comfortable and you have a lot of space on the inside, and so you can do a lot of long distance comfortably. The whine from the supercharger is also great. That should be one big driving factor for this car. When you look at the price of the car, I feel like it's a bargain when you compare it to the other cars in the list. It is much cheaper than the other cars on the list, except for the RCF. Although the gas mileage could have been better, but as we all know, there is no replacement for displacement.
Okay guys, that's about it in terms of our favorite top 5 sedans. Let us know what you guys think, and let us know what your favorite sedan was out of the 5.
If you guys want to check out our previous video, click here, and if you want to subscribe, click here.
Okay, catch you guys on the next one. Goodbye.
Peace.